I know that obviously, you played for the Harlequins, you then just casually played for England as the captain. And then you even played in America as well. And you touched a little bit on that. I was going to ask you what that was like playing for a team in America versus playing in the UK.
I loved the experience. For me, when I left Harlequins, I was 34 years old. I was captain in the club for my second stint doing it. And mentally, I just felt like I really needed a break. I wasn't quite ready to retire. I felt but also my body wasn't quite what it was when I was 24 or 28 or something like that. So yeah, we looked at America. And we wanted something completely different. I'd always been kind of Southwest London. I was Wandsworth based. Obviously, we played in Twickenham. So I'd always been that kind of bubble. And I thought, you know what? I wanted to do something completely different. I didn't want to go to like another kind of city. I wanted to go. And for me, the ocean has always been a massive escape. Just mentally, it's been so good for me. And then I had an opportunity from San Diego, went over there, and the rugby was good, but there was definitely bits of the infrastructure which have improved since my time. Like we trained in public parks and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
It was a little bit different. But our gym and stuff were fantastic because they love that side of the game. They love that physicality.
And do you think Americans can appreciate it and did it surprise you when you went out there?
Yeah, it did. And it was different everywhere you went because you went to there was a lot of Texas teams. You went to Texas and there was a big following. You went to the New Yorks, the Bostons. There was more of a following that side, probably than the West Coast. But then you went up to Seattle. We played in Seattle as well and they had a really big following.
That's my family there. They're huge.
Massive sporting. Whereas obviously LA, San Diego, there was a bit more kind of diverse and a lot more going on. But for me, San Diego was beautiful. I love living there, and if I could work there, I'd probably never come home because instead of getting in an ice bucket or a wheelie bin full of ice post training, you go to the ocean and you have a swim down there and you try and surf and there's dolphins swimming past and all that stuff. And it was just, and that's what I mean. It was so different to what I lived with in London, really. And our first son was actually born there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was born there and we actually moved there kind of during the kind of COVID pandemic kind of stage.
Nice. That was a good transition. Yeah. Smart.
And when we were going there, the restrictions in California were a lot stricter than Nevada. So being typical American, they picked up the whole team.
Oh, hey, I was in LA.
Hotel in Nevada.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
And we stayed there for 2 months and we walked into this place off the strip, and off the strip in Las Vegas is not a good place to go. They were
holding you up off a strip in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we were in a hotel there and there was drug dealers in the hotel and prostitutes. And at this point, Camilla was 6 months pregnant. Yeah, and thinking, you know what, we've just left our very nice London townhouse and we've come to I probably can't swear on this podcast, but a certain place in Las Vegas. Luckily we were there for about 6 weeks. So we lived in Las Vegas for 6 weeks initially, which was definitely eye-opening.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, exactly. It was but also in a place like Las Vegas, the size of it, you can't understand the size of it until you've been there. The size of these hotels and they're so grand and the neon lights and there's something terrible, but there's also something amazing.
I mean, everything's just so, I feel like everything's heightened. The noise, the sound, like the smells, the colors. And actually the food and wine scene is extremely varied there.
And it's brilliant. The restaurants they have in Vegas are absolutely incredible. The best chefs in the world are all based there and have their biggest restaurants. But yeah, we did some amazing things there. Of course, the rugby side of it, but then we were lucky enough, we flew in, took a helicopter into the Grand Canyon, and then you fly down a strip on the way back and you see like the lights, you see the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon's amazing. Seeing those type of things, which are so big. And then you fly and basically have a picnic there. Have a picnic there and then you fly back. And then we moved to San Diego. So we're there and then we were in San Diego for 3 months or so before we ended up coming back for 4 months and then going back. But San Diego is a beautiful part. In America, they're a very baseball scene. And the sport there, they love sport. They love sport in America. And it's amazing how much they buy into sport. They buy into it as well. I think
it's something which just unites such a big country. And when you're that huge, I think sport is really what unites people.
And also, I know it might annoy some people, but the positive energy Americans have. And I must admit, it took us a little bit of time to get used to it because I come from a rugby environment which can be quite not intimidating, but quite bantery and taking the mick out of each other.
Well, that's just English.
And that's English.
That's England.
Yeah, exactly. And if someone said, oh yeah, nice dress, you'd be like, well, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
But over there, I remember I went and I wore a shirt or something. They were like, oh, I like your shirt. And I was like, oh mate, it's a nice shirt. And they were like, no, I really like it. We're like, where'd you buy it? And they started talking to us about it. And I was like, oh, actually, they do mean this. They're just being nice. And even when we first went, I remember we asked someone for directions. And they must have stayed with us for about 5 minutes telling us where to go and what to do. And we actually had to get away from them come the end of the conversation. Whereas they were being that helpful. Whereas in England, if someone asks you, you're like, literally, yeah, down there, whatever. But over there, yeah, it definitely gave us a different perspective on things. And it was just that positive energy, living in the sun as well.
That makes such a difference.
It does. And it wasn't until we came back, because then we came back for 4 months, kind of, end of the summer till Christmas, and then went back again for another 7 months. And we came back in those winter months, and then you're like, you know what, I miss it over there now. It's it's a beautiful part of the world.
I think that's such an amazing experience and opportunity to be able to give your family. And I think, you're getting the kind of best of both worlds.